on behalf of that State Department for Trade, allow me to thank you very much and welcome you to this side event. The first ever side event by the State Department on the 14th Devolution Conference, the first ever, which is a good thing for us. And I think that's the reason why we're here. Secondly, that we are looking at the importance of the trade sector in Kenya's economy, particularly in line with the theme that we have currently, that it is so vital that it comes second to agriculture in terms of contributing the GDP and in terms of employment. Very significant for us to be here today. That this sector, if you looked at the year 2024 statistics, contributed 30.29% of the GDP. Out of this contribution, 21.5% was from export trade and over 90% was from domestic trade. And just to point out that 60% of the informal sector employment is actually found in the domestic trade sector. It could be in wholesale, it is in retail, it is in those barber shops, it's in those hair salons and what have in the services sector. We are very, very strong in terms of trade. Ladies and gentlemen, we're here therefore to reflect on some of the things that have been taking place in the trade sector over the past few years and then be able to see how this has been promoted to equity and social justice, particularly in the theme that we have in the area of for the people and for prosperity. And I think trade plays a very, very important area in that. So we're here for many things. One is to share information on what SDT has been doing in terms of opening up global markets. You have heard it mentioned here briefly, but we have opened up markets in the ESC, in COMESA, in the tripartite, in the AFCFTA, with the UK, the EU, with the UAE. We are doing a lot of work with the US. All these are supposed markets that Kenyans support take advantage of. And how then the women and the youth can be able to tap into these markets. And I think the panelists will be speaking to that very, very extensively. We also talk about the ongoing work in terms of value chains, about 14 or 15 under the bottom economic transformation agenda, whose development and connectivity to global markets is a very important area that we deal with. We also reflect on the nexus between the two levels of government in supporting and developing this trade sector. The county government, the national government, there has to be a nexus between these two levels so that this sector can contribute immensely to the growth of the sector in terms of policy development and implementation within the nexus there, in terms of good regulatory practices within the nexus there, building the capacity of the actors so that they can take advantage of the opportunities within the nexus there, awareness of the very many opportunities that we have in the global markets within the nexus there. This then will help us to facilitate domestic and export trade, private sector development, and regional integration by both levels of government, by creating or championing an enabling environment for trade to thrive and to create new markets for us. Ladies and gentlemen, our view from where we sit at the State Department for Trade is that if we do and carry out such collaboration, we'll be able to put more money in the people's pockets and therefore support what we are calling promote social justice, inclusivity, particularly for the women, for the youth, and other marginalized communities. Because we don't have so much time, that will have been my overview what we are doing here. So when we come to the panel, we'll be able to address each of these in detail. I thank you very much for listening to me, and I thank you, sir, for making me a CEO today.
May I take this opportunity to welcome the CEO, now the CEO, the real one of Kenya Invest, Mr. John Mwendwa, to also make a remarks on the same. There's a mic, just yeah.
Mine is just a couple of points. One is I'll make some comments. I'm here also to represent my PS, Abubakar Hassan, the PS for Investment Promotion. And with that out of the way, of course, Madam PS, Regina for State Department of Trade, and colleagues who are here from the various parastatals, our wonderful partners from counties and private sector who are here. Mine is, I would love to read a speech, but speeches are boring. I like to make presentations, but I'll try and just make a couple of points on the nexus between really trade and investments, because I think they go hand in hand. and from where we sit at Kenya Investment Authority and how then that relates to counties. So I'll just make a couple of points. And I will just refer to some statistics. If you look at the recent investment report released by UNCTAD, global investments topped $1.5 trillion in 2024. $1.5 trillion around the world, where people deployed investment capital from North America to Latin America to Africa. Out of $1.5 trillion, Africa had just under 100 billion. Okay? Just follow it closely. And Kenya had just $1.5 billion. Just see how it's coming. The cake is so big. And then what trickles down is that. But considerably, it's not bad because on an Pan-African level, it's similar. If you take a step back and look at global trade, and I know I love the video and the highlights that Bonamando has shared and what the colleagues in the trade docket do, you will figure out that PS, according to the numbers we have, all the markets that you have opened up around the world, US, UK, EPA, SIPA in the UAE, we think all that is about $55 trillion market access. So the challenge we have is there's a global trends where investment is going. It's huge. Where the markets you have opened up for Kenya, huge. But the opportunity that connects that is not as good. But good things are happening. Yesterday at an event we heard from the just immediate former chair of Keproba, of the wonderful growth of trade numbers in terms of exports. I don't know whether that is true, Bonamando, but I'm told, in the last years, it's grown by nearly $2 billion. I'm told it's good growth, which means there's positive momentum. But from where we sit as Kenya Investment Authority, is really when an investor comes to Kenya, they will come to Kenya. Out there, they know Kenya. But when they come here, they know county X or Y. And the reality is without counties, we will not do investment promotion. And we'll have nowhere to talk about exports, etc., etc. So for investment and trade agenda, that nexus to work, counties must work well, and we must work well with counties. So we are just doing a couple of things. Number one is we really want to work together with counties to really improve the business climate. PS, you spoke about ease of doing business. I have a bias for that topic because when we debottleneck doing business, when we talk about the county issues on licensing, etc., how easy it is, how our pipes are ready. Business climate is so important for counties. Number two, we have just said we can do a lot with all counties, but we are just an agency. Everybody has a role to play. We will help counties, and we spoke about this yesterday, to really make one value chain bankable and viable, and we work to them around issues of project preparation. There is much more money in the world today than there are quality investment proposals. We are putting our hands out there. Just identify one value chain. We work with you on project preparation, de-risking the opportunity, so that we can ensure, whether it's in a CAIP or not, we can work together so that as you do production for local market, even the export market, when there are colleagues here to help you on capturing the export market, and my colleague Flois is here from Keproba for something like that. And then finally, what we are doing in terms of just helping link this space, we are also working with counties to really do an investment masterclass ecosystem so that we can all raise the bar. So that when we are here, we're not talking about buzzwords, bankability, investment grade. What does it mean? We want to simplify that so that whichever county we are talking to, in terms of attracting capital, we can all talk the same language. So I could talk more and more and give you long speeches, but for us, without counties, we will not succeed. But we must spread the scope of what we are doing. My final point is, if you look at, and most of you know CAM, Kenya Association of Manufacturers, if they plotted a graph of all the 47 counties on one graph, and where manufacturing is happening, you'll see concentration between Nairobi, Kiambu, Murang'a, Kajiado, Machakos. Then it starts going near zero. How we benefit and distribute equity in the country is how we can raise the bar so that investments can be across all counties. So we are really excited, and I'm really looking forward to hearing from the panel, from the State Department of Investment Promotion on behalf of my PS and the Kenya Investment Authority and all our other partners in that State Department. we cannot do without you, our partners in the trade space and our counties, and we assure you of our partnership. And with that, those are my many remarks. You can clap for me now. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. No, just please say thank you so much, Mr. John, for that clarity and, of course, short brief, which it was very enriched. May I take this opportunity now to welcome our peers, Ms. Regina, to basically look at the role of investments, trade and industry in advancing equity and inclusivity in developed systems of government, promotion of value chains, trade and investment, and facilitation. Karibu sana, Madam PS. Guys, clap for Madam PS. Mbaga fike hapa. Just keep clapping, keep clapping, keep. Thank you so much. Karibu sana, Ma'am.
Good afternoon, everybody. I am actually first giving apologies from our Cabinet Secretary, who was to be the keynote speaker in this session. Due to other job exigencies, he's not able to join us. So I will be reading his keynote address. So for the next 10 minutes, just imagine it is the CS speaking. Why aren't you clapping? So it is indeed a great honor to join you today at this year's Devolution Conference to address you during this side event, hosted under the theme, Unlocking County Trade Potential by Strengthening Local Value Chains for Inclusive Growth in Kenya. Allow me to commend the County Government of Homa Bay, our partners, and all participants for organizing this important forum. At a pivotal moment in our country's economic transformation, this dialogue brings together thought leaders, policymakers, industry players, and friends from all around the world to exchange ideas for Kenya's shared prosperity. Ladies and gentlemen, trade has long been a cornerstone of Kenya's economic development. It connects our farmers, manufacturers, service providers, and innovators with both regional and global markets. In today's interconnected world, the role of trade is even more vital, serving as a catalyst for sustainable growth and development. To maximize Kenya's trade potential and integrate effectively into regional and global value chains, there must be deliberate and structured collaboration between county and national governments. This collaboration must align policies, coordinate strategic investments, and foster robust public-private partnerships that enhance productivity, support value addition, and improve market access for local producers. Principally, the key pillars for unlocking trade and strengthening value chains include policy alignment and coordination. And here is where, as the national government, we are providing an overarching policy framework that covers trade, manufacturing, agriculture, and infrastructure, which is essential for the economic planning and investments. And on the other hand, county governments are the implementers, and therefore that collaboration and coordination must happen right. We also need to make sure we have structured mechanisms that allow for smooth coordination so that we resolve any policy overlaps and promote mutual accountability between the two levels of government. So I'm very, very pleased with the progress that we have made towards establishing a trade, industry, and investment sector forum, which will bridge the missing link and provide the platform for continuous engagement. It is my prayer that that trade, industry, and investment sector forum between the national and the county governments is actually going to steer the coordination that is needed for effective trade to take place. When we look at what we need in terms of our value chains, we must collaborate so that we identify and prioritize high potential value chains, such as horticulture, dairy, fisheries, and textiles, principally based on the regional strength. And the CEO Ken Invest has really emphasized that let us identify that value chain that is transformative and then work together to spur trade and development in the country. So we need to also, as we think of that, we also need to look at which are the critical enablers that can allow trade to happen between in Kenya and countries out there. So we really have to invest in our infrastructure, in our innovation, in our workforce, so that it supports the value chain across the supply chain, all the way from production to processing to packaging and to distribution. The private-public partnerships must be something that we cannot overlook. We must tap on the private sector so that we get that critical expertise that is there, the capital, the innovation that is there, so that we leverage on this, and this helps us to improve our efficiency and competitiveness. So we must ensure that we have an inclusive growth. We must make sure that both levels of government work together to address regional disparities by directing investments to undeserved areas and implementing inclusive development strategies. So here I am with my team trying to get this forum to get us to discuss what we really need to do in terms of ensuring collaboration and opportunities in the key sectors that we have, be it the agriculture, be it the tourism, because together we can really have a strong partnership that can actually unlock Kenya's trade potential and achieve inclusive economic transformation. So I look forward to very, very, very engaging discussions with the panelists so that we are able to unlock that potential, given that this is the first side event that we are having on the sidelines of a devolution conference that is focusing on trade, that we will actually be able to start seeing what we need to do in terms of collaboration so that we spur trade, not only within our country, our county borders, but we go beyond the borders and look into those markets that we are saying we have a space in. So thank you very much. I wish you all the best, and back to you, MC.
Madam Pierce, thank you so much for enriched information and, of course, communicating to us. Now, at this juncture, our first session will focus on the cross-border trade and the linkage to devolution and regional trade integration, the focus being on women and youth cross-border trade. Let me take this opportunity. As they come, please clap for them till they sit down. Dr. Francis Ndwiga. Continue clapping. Dr. Ndwiga serves as the chair of the Trade CEC's caucus within the COG. He leads collective strategies in strengthening inter-county trade within COG. Thank you so much, Bwana and Honorable Francis Ndwiga. Our next panelist is Miss Lucy. Miss Lucy is immensely experienced in public and private sector. Keep clapping for her. She has over 27 years in the same practice. She commands immense expertise in agriculture, policy, chemical products, registration, and value chains, market dynamics. Thank you so much, Miss Lucy, and karibu sana. Our next panelist is Miss Jackie Malomba. Jackie is the founder of the principal partner, Afri Women Connect, dedicated to empowering women and youth across Africa through financial inclusion. Thank you so much, and mentorship. Thank you so much, Madam Jackie. The other panelist is Fanuel Kidenda. Mr. Fanuel Kidenda leads COMEX, the state-owned multi-commodities exchange established under the Kenya National Multi-Commodity Exchange Act of 2019. The next is Madam Lucy, Miss Lucy. Miss Lucy is the Managing Director, Kenya National Trade Corporation. She commands experience of 15 years in finance strategies, risk management, and compliance. And finally is Mr. Shelton Omolo, founder and director of Elso Farms. Mr. Omolo is an agriculturalist practitioner with background in food science and technology. Mr. Omolo, you could actually sit here. Thank you so much. What we're going to do, we'll have one strong question for each one of them. Then we will start with Honorable Ndwiga. Kindly, could you collaborate on the strategy significance of county aggregation and industrial parks for counties, and particularly outline the opportunities they present for women, youth engaged in trade, including cross-border trade?
As we have this agenda, for us, we are looking at it as a model of benchmarking for the counties to be able to understand how they can also be able to contribute to the manufacturing component and platforms that are there. And the strategies that we have been able to put in place is one, all counties have been able to really commit for the first in terms of infrastructure development. So most of our counties have been able to do that. Secondly, we are in the space of developing investment strategies for the counties. So we have that discussion, and also establishment of investment corporations that will be the special vehicle for us to be able to implement the manufacturing component. But more to that is that we have been able to identify the key priority value chains that will be able to at least be in the space of manufacturing. But more importantly to that is that we started with what we thought would be for the counties in terms of the strength. But what we have been able to now decide is that we want to go on one value chain based on the strength for the counties, and that has been informed by us ensuring that we leverage on the economic blocks that we have. So for us, and more specifically, like in Embu County, we are working within the central economic block to be able to see to analyze our strength. But beside that, the other area in terms of what we are looking at is to really support our counties to be able to ensure that they actually do what we call visibility study. Counties, this is the first time to be engaged in the industrialization component and manufacturing. So we are trying to really ensure that counties really understand what it means for the investor to be able to come to specific counties in terms of evidence-based, the data, and also the visibility study. So that's what we are doing as counties, and thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Honorable Ndwiga, for that clarification. And then, of course, Ms. Lucy, how has the warehouse WRS transformed these landscapes? And what key reforms or investments are needed to create a more responsive and structured grain trading ecosystems?
Thank you. Thank you for that question. I think I'll start with defining what the Warehouse Receipt System Council is. It's a regulator that ensures that developed warehouses are certified. And so, in short, it is the bank for commodities. So we certify the banks for commodities within the counties. And I'm very happy that my panelist here has also said that county governments have already identified value chains. So once the value chains have been identified, and since we have small-scale farmers, we need to aggregate them and put them in certified warehouses. Once you have put them in a certified warehouses, then you get an instrument of title. And we are talking about youth, and we are talking about women, and other than this is an alternative instrument for title. The other issues that when we are talking about cross-border trade is that this is a space, this is where now we do a quality and quantity check, so that once we do route to market and trade that commodity, then we reduce the process of rejecting the quality and the quantity of the commodities.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Ms. Lucy, for that. Ms. Jackie, kindly, what strategies are women-led MSMEs in Kenya employing to overcome barriers in cross-border trade and leveraging opportunities within domestic and regional trade frameworks?
Okay. Thank you, Peter. First of all, One Voice Women Trade Network, just like Devolution brings services closer to the people, One Voice Women Trade actually brings services closer to women in trade. So in line with the theme of this 2025 Devolution Conference, where devolution is a catalyst to equity, to inclusion, to better lives for our people. That is the same way we align to the agenda to the agenda of One Voice Women in Trade, and just making sure we bring services closer to our people. So in terms of cross-border traders, first of all, they are our key partners, and one of the people that we are really looking at supporting in terms of who we are. And we work with associations we work with groups, we work with cooperatives, and you find that these women at the cross-border traders, they come up with cooperatives, they come up with groups, they come up with associations, and those are things we are actually encouraging them to come up with so that we can be able to serve them better. And as we encourage them, then we make it easier for them to be able to do certifications, to be able to package their products well so that they pass the border checks, the standards, and even to be able to export better quality and more. We are also able to support them with markets once they meet the standards that are required. For now, maybe that's all I can say.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you. So we go to Miss Lucy. KNTC plays a pivotal role in logistics, warehouse, and pricing stabilization of essential goods. How sufficient is the current infrastructure to support these mandates?
We have sufficient infrastructure in terms of warehouses, where KNTC warehouses are strategically located in various towns and county governments, and they are situated along railway sidings. So our infrastructure in terms of warehouses, we have warehouses and they can store up to over 600,000 metric tons of any essential food commodity at a single time. We also support in terms of logistics, that is end-to-end, where at the front line we have Kenya Railways. We are partnering with Kenya Railways to do the railway transport. And then for last mile, we are partnering with private transporters to ensure that there is efficiency in last mile delivery. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Ms. Lucy, for that. Mr. Fanuel, how will COMEX support the operationalization of the county aggregation and industrial parks?
COMEX is Kenya National Multi-Commodities Exchange Limited. We're a financial state corporation under the State Department for Trade. We're fairly new at this game, but we are mandated to promote structured trade and also to facilitate that through a capital markets regulated commodities exchange. Now, in terms of the work that we do at COMEX is basically to provide a digital trading platform that then enables us to onboard producers, farmers, cooperatives from different parts of this country onto a single window where they can then list commodities that they have for trade. And at the same time, we onboard off-takers who would then be able to purchase these commodities. Now, working together with the county governments, our key role has been to support in terms of operationalization of the county aggregation and industrial parks. We've already visited about 13 different counties where we've mapped the priority value chains that the counties are supporting in terms of production, with the intention of then enabling them to get access to market, but also to be able to trade digitally. The trading platform has already been developed. It's also linked to our payment settlement system that would enable them to be able to get the dues whenever they do trading. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Fanuel, for that. Mr. Molo, in your experience, what opportunities lie for youth to participate in this particular space of agricultural value chain?
Thank you very much, Mr. Moderator. My name is Shelton Molo. I work for Elso Farms Limited. Elso Farms, we run 3 major value chains. That is, we're in the aquaculture value chain, apiculture value chain, and also in the horticulture value chain. And just like you have identified, there is serious declination and generally lack of interest, especially in the youth area, in joining the agriculture sector. And this has been a result from one particular element to the other. And if I can be able to highlight some of these challenges and maybe reasons why there is serious low number of youth in the agriculture sector, some of them is maybe if we can if I can be able to go straight to identifying some of the issues that you can tackle, is empowering youth digitally so that we can be able to embrace digital systems. We can be able to highlight some of these opportunities that are there for the youth in the digital sector, so that youth can be able to do their businesses effectively. Because you can attest to this fact that today everything has been digitalized, and without going to that digital direction, maybe the youth will not be able to get interested to join that particular sector or area. Another thing is, I feel that we should be able to make the cross-border business friendly to both youth and women, so that these people are able to transact businesses even when they are away in the borders. You can imagine, or you've been able to realize that business in the borders, where maybe the youth have been able to have their produce, the farm proceeds are there, but you realize that they cannot be able to get to the export market because of the regulations that are there at the borders. So maybe we can make those regulations at the borders friendly, so that youth can be able to join the export markets and get their produce or the proceeds, the farm proceeds, to other markets, so that they can attract higher income. Moving further, I can say that we have not done well in terms of dissemination of information, especially on the financial element. You realize that sometimes there are a lot of information that are there that the youth are not still aware of, especially on how to access some of these finances, access some of these incentives, so that they can be able to get these incentives to do their businesses efficiently. Thank you.
Now we want to open up for the plenary. If anyone has another question, just a question, clarity, something that you want clarity to be shared, just can direct the question to any of our panelists.
My quick question is to Omolo, the youth, who said youth are not keen in agriculture because we are not giving them opportunities, particularly in the digital space. And I'm just asking myself, I thought they were the gurus in the digital space. So when they say we are not giving them the opportunity, can you just expand on that? Because I'm confused.
Thank you so much, Madam PS. That went direct to Mr. Molo. The second question, the one who was behind the PS. We thought everybody was supposed to be. Oh, yes.
All right, thank you very much. Mine is not so much a question to the panelists, but to all of us here. When I was in school, one of my professors taught us that if you torture data, nature will confess in statistics. And John, thank you very much for what you've just done, because you've brought to the fore very interesting conversation. $1.5 trillion globally, $100 billion in Africa, 1.5 billion in Kenya. Yet Kenya is, I think, probably the fourth largest economy in Africa. Huge, huge skew. There's a problem somewhere. So, Madam PS, I think we need to draw a roadmap to really address some real issues to make sure we're able to close that gap. A few things I want to bring to the conversation today. Number one, issues around infrastructure. And by this, I'm talking about, number one, power. The cost of power is very, very high in Kenya. Unless we bring the cost of power down, we will be trying things that will not be helping us in the long run. Number two, water supply. And I want to talk about Machakos, Kajiado, Nairobi, Murang'a, the metropolitan area. We need to have a serious sit down with national government and find out how do we then provide adequate water to all the factories and industries who are setting up in that metropolitan region, like we would probably in Homa Bay, Kisumu, Kakamega, Siaya, and the rest as a block, to see how to, because in Machakos, for example, I was at EPZ 2 weeks ago, and now EPZ is full.
You have 30 seconds.
Oh yeah, these are critical issues, my brother, very critical. EPZ now is full because we have a lot of investors coming in from China and the rest. They're now spilling over to Machakos. And the first conversion is, do we have adequate of all these things we're talking about? Having said that, the last one is about air freight. The cost of air freight is very high. I raised this some time back. It has affected a lot of importers, especially those who are doing fresh produce. So we need to understand what is our strategy to make sure we are competitive. And remember, a lot of the investors who are coming after Machakos, they catch a flight, they are going to Ethiopia, they're going to Morocco, they're going to Egypt. So they're looking for the best environment to invest. We must be competitive. So let's begin that conversation, all of us. Thank you.
Thank you so much. May you kindly introduce yourself? We didn't get your name.
My name is John Kilonzo. I'm the CCM for Trade and Industry, Innovation, SMEs and Tourism, Machakos County.
Thank you so much, sir.
My name is Teddy Warrior. I'm the director of a company called Kavu. And also, we're known to have created something called africastalking.com. We power USSD across mobile phones in Africa. My question is very simple. I was told that Homa Bay has a lot of talent in tailoring and in designers. I'm looking for people who make kind of towels, out of the sarong, kikoi, who can sew them into luxury towels. That's what I'm looking for, so that we can export them to the United States of America. Thank you.
Charlton, I'm directing this to you, the only Gen Z up there. Congratulations. You've been so passionate about agriculture, and I join in that. And Madam P has talked about digitization of the youth, and you'll address that because you said like they're lagging. So that's an issue you'll address. But how beyond the digital platforms, what are you doing in terms of holding forums to onboard the youth into this less traveled space, agriculture and horticulture? Remember, during the COVID period, most people realized there is livelihood in the land, livelihood in the soil, and we are trying to onboard as many youths as possible to come into this less traveled space. So you'll address that. Are you championing this sector? How intensive or how passionate are you, and how determined are you to onboard your fellow youths into this? And the next I'll direct to Madam Lucy, One Women, One Voice, or perhaps I've forgotten your name. Yes, One Women, One Voice. I think you are dealing with the youth and the women, and you talked about financial inclusion. And when we look at the Africa Continental Free Trade, the border is open, the space is open. We are talking of the protocol on women and youth, which addresses basically all the challenges that the women and youth are facing. What is your campaign towards this? To train women on the available opportunities, the value addition across the borders. I'm Pamela Onyango from the State Department for Trade, and I must commend ourselves on the work we are doing.
Yes, thank you.
And I'm not yet through.
Okay.
I'm not yet through. Okay. So what we are saying, we are very, very passionate about trade, cross-border trade. Charlton, you mentioned that. And when we look at the simplified trade regime and the intensified trade that we as a department has carried out, there is certainly an increase in the volume of products traded across border, whether it is through Holili, whether it's Hirare, Malaba, Busia, all that. And I'm a trainer, and Mr. Ndwiga, Honorable Ndwiga, I'm talking to you. Would you want to collaborate with us so that we build the capacity of your people, and not just Embu? I saw Kitui represented here. All the counties, we are there to train you, to train your people to partake of the Africa Continental Free Trade Area. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. We believe that the last speaker is just a minute, just one question, just a question. I hope it's not a comment.
Thank you. My name is Nelly Bugwa. I'm the Deputy President of Institution of Surveyors of Kenya. I'm a valuer by profession. Thank you for a wonderful presentation. Just to comment or questions, the State Department for Trade, what's role, how are you helping the youth or the common man, mwananchi, to access funds? I think one of the reasons why probably the youth, the women may not be able to participate in value addition in trade is the lack of affordable financing. It's expensive, and that takes me to the next point of, for you to be able to get a loan in the country, you need to get to have a title. And you indicated something to do with titling that is away from the normal title, that will alternative titling. I would like to hear a little bit more how I could be able to go back to the women in, for instance, in ISK or Institutional Surveyors of Kenya, and let them know that indeed they can get funding from the alternative spaces that they have. The other point, so I'm concerned about access to funding. The other issue was alluded to by one of the speakers, is about what is required of you. I think we burden. Before you can start even that value addition, as long as you're putting up a warehouse, you go through 1,001 requirements. You have this institution to take care of, the other one health. Can we centralize? Can we make it easier? Can it be a day's work? Because can it be cheaper, accessible? Because if you demand yours, the county is demanding, it's going to be impossible. The youth will not be part of it. The last one is innovation. Do we have incubations? Do we have points where we can support the young people to grow their ideas, to grow their thoughts, so that by the time they are going to the field or they are taking up a warehouse, they already know how it can be done, what it can be done. So I think we need to go beyond just being producing documents to be followed. How about innovation? How about incubation centers for this trade?
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And I think those questions, most of them went directly to either the PS or the Secretary of Trade. But let's allow the chair to just make a comment, then we go back to the panelists. And of course, I will request Mr. Michael. Some of those questions were direct to Trade.
My name is James Mario, and I'm the chairman of the Micro and Small Enterprise Authority. And a lot of those questions revolve around the authority. And I can tell the last speaker that we do have incubation centers that are available in Kariobangi South and other centers across the entire country. We are present in about 190 constituencies in this country. Now, my issue about trade, Madam PS, is to do with the counties. I've walked around this morning and I've seen every county is producing something. Kidogo here, another county is doing kidogo, same thing. Milk here, milk there, milk there, milk there. There is no commercial quantities. And so, even tea, every county is producing. A little tea here, I was talking to Kirinyaga CEC, I said, you have tea here, you have tea in Murang'a, you have tea in Kiambu, you have tea everywhere. Can we look at the one county, one product scaling, so that if we have milk in Kiambu or Nyandarua, let's agree which county has more milk. Let's take all the milk there. Let's take a value addition center there and we scale. And the same thing with other products. Every county can get a product that they can scale. And the reason, Madam PS, I'm saying this is because if you look at the consumer market of one county, it is too small for growth to happen. But if you look at the entire country and you're producing milk for the entire country, the milk value chain, then you're likely to make growth. And the last one is about all this production in the counties. Can they then be commercialized so that we stop now trading within and look at the markets outside there, take advantage of the agreements that we have across the globe and make sure we satisfy those markets. There is order for tea, there is order for coffee, but every coffee farmer, kidogo here, kidogo there, we can't commercialize. That's my bit.
I want to clarify that youth entrepreneurship, or rather creating room for youth to join the entrepreneurship, offers a wider scope for economic solutions to this country. And especially the innovative solutions for economic growth. Maybe I want to respond to my good friend. She is asking if we have been able to create platforms that allow youth to join the agri-sector. Of course, we have done so for us, the players who are in the agri-sector. We've been able to do a lot of trainings and capacity buildings. we've been able to work with both smallholder and established farmers to ensure that they also join this lucrative venture. You see, sometimes it becomes very difficult to...
Shelton, 30 seconds.
Oh, sorry. Sometimes it becomes very difficult to tell the youth that the agri-venture is lucrative. But sometimes when we do it practically, we are able to lure them so that they can cross to this side. So maybe we are so much into ideologies than practical.
Thank you so much.
I think currently we have plans to start from next week having economic blocks discussion so that we can also be able to agree on the strength of each county to have one value chain. Finally is the issue of all of us looking at how we can also be able to have a mindset change. We have been working in silos more literally, and I think for us as counties now we have a space led by our peers and other members of the State Department to be able to put our minds together in terms of capacity building, expertise and all that as we develop strategies that will be able to operationalize our CAIB. So the model we are using for all of us to be able to be in that space of understanding the market and connecting from county to the global is actually the CAIB operationalization strategy.
Thank you so much.
I will start with a call for action and then I will respond to the question that was asked. So for us, WRS, the call for action from the county government is that once you've identified those specific value chains per county, then we work together to identify the aggregation centers. So we need to map these aggregation centers to the certified warehouses. So when we do this then helps us to improve market access, and it also helps the smallholder farmers to access financing. And as we are focusing on women, marginalized groups, we are focusing on youth. For additional information on the issues of access to financing and market access, I'm also inviting you to exhibition booth number 330 so that we can have this conversation further. We also want to strengthen the bargaining power of the farmer. Want to move our farmers, and I keep saying this over and over again, want to move our farmers from price takers to price negotiators so that when they aggregate the commodities, then it is easy for that commodity to market and they will be able to they'll be able to negotiate for better prices. Finally, we also encourage participation for formal value chains, and the warehouse system is a digital platform, and so that digital platform also promotes trust and transparency. And for youth, we are looking into the future of doing blockchain, and now you have a base to start it. So let's have that conversation and let's support the gender and the youth.
Thank you so much.
Historically, when we got into devolution, were we thinking economics or were we thinking politics? And if we were thinking economics, then we would be talking about this model of economies of scale so that we look at it from an economic point of view. So it's about time, and we have an opportunity now as the constituency of trade to now sit with counties and start thinking economics and think about the economies of scale and the model around commercialization so that we think county, but when it comes to trade, we think country. So I think if we are able to redefine it in that manner, then we will be able to push the agenda that we need.
Thank you so much from trade and from our peers.